What up guys, welcome back to 88-Bit Tech. I'm AJ and I know it's been a while. I'm really sorry about the delay with the uploads. Holiday season gets pretty busy and I don't have as much spare time as before. Plus I had to wait for all the components to come in from AliExpress, Singles Day sale and the Black Friday sales. Today we have the ultimate just over $300 budget build with a mix of new and used parts that can play Starfield. Stay tuned and find out if it's true. All parts today include taxes and delivery. Let's break down the components. So at the center of today's budget build, I was able to pick up a motherboard, CPU, RAM combo off of AliExpress during the Singles Day sale for $100 USD. It's the Huananzhi QD4 Mobo with an Intel Xeon E5 2680 V4 CPU and 32 GB of DDR4 RAM. These server CPUs have so much potential and they keep getting cheaper. It's a 14-core, 28-thread CPU with a turbo boost of 3.3 GHz. The RAM is 2x16 GB of server RAM rated at 2400 megatransfers per second. We're cooling this CPU with an Iwongou 90mm tower cooler with 2 copper pipes that should be more than enough to keep the CPU nice and cool. We picked this up during the Singles Day sale on AliExpress for $10. For storage, we got a highly rated M.2 NVMe SSD during the sale from AliExpress. It's the XrayDisk 1TB Pro SSD Gen 3x4 for $31. This was an absolute steal. It's rated for 3,250 and 2,750 megabytes per second read and write, and in my testings it got around to those rated speeds. I tested it at 51% and 83% capacity and the speeds held. Considering we'll be trying Starfield, you're going to need a fast NVMe SSD, and this one delivers. For the GPU, we got a new Elsa RX 5700 for $122 off AliExpress. If you don't know by now, the RX 5700 is starting to become the next higher-end budget king in the GPU market. This card can handle 1080p with ease, getting 60+ FPS in modern titles, and can even handle some modern games in 1440p. To power this system, we were able to get a phenomenal deal off the local used market on a B-tier PSU off the PSU tier list. It's the EVGA 600 GD 80+ gold non-modular PSU. This will be more than enough to run this budget system. I tested the PSU using a power supply tester and everything was within range, basically brand new. We snagged this up for $31, had a good chat with the seller, and he was a cool dude. Shout out to Elmo, thanks mate. All of this is going into my old Antec NX200M micro ATX case that I've upgraded from. Since it's a used case, I've based the price off similar cases you can get off the used market here in Sydney, which is $26 US. So the final total for the build with taxes and delivery included comes out to $322.61 USD, which is $484.88 Australian. Let's build it. So I'm waiting on one motherboard to come in, but I need to test this Huananzhi X99 motherboard within that 15-day period just to make sure it's not faulty. And so I'm gonna be doing it outside of this case, outside of a case for now. And I got this beautiful number, so I can turn it on without having to have a case, just so we can test it. Hey! Check it out, we got power, boom! Let's see if we have display. BIOS. Yes! It worked! This was a very easy build to set up, guys. If you are thinking about picking up the Huananzhi QD4 for your budget build, I would pre-install the CPU power cable and you'll have a much easier time setting it up. At least that was the case for my case. As for the benchmarks, they're all done at 1080p and for the most part, no upscaling. I first recorded the FPS without screen capture running, so you'll have an accurate FPS count on these games. And another fun little tidbit, the gameplay footage you're about to see for these benchmarks were recorded and edited on DaVinci Resolve on this PC. So this is more than capable of doing 1080p video editing for those of you that are into that. We tested this build on Armored Core 6, Cyberpunk 2077, CS2, Diablo 4, Fortnite, plus Farlight 84 and Valorant to finish off the esports suite, Forza Horizon 4, Hogwarts Legacy, Witcher 3, and even Starfield. Since we have an RX 5700 in this build, it's the minimum GPU according to Bethesda. Let's see how this GPU paired with the Xeon E5 CPU holds up. For Armored Core 6, we have it set to high settings, no FSR. We got an average of 106 FPS, 1% low of 82, and a 0.1% low of 56. For Cyberpunk on high settings, no FSR, we got an average of 55 FPS, 41.1% low and 33.1% low. With quality FSR enabled, we got an average of 70 FPS, 47.1% and 45 for the 0.1%. For CS2 on high settings, no FSR, we got 105 average, 57 for the 1% and 36 for the 1.1% low. I should note that the frame times were stable and I didn't notice any drops in frames while playing. For Diablo 4, high settings, no FSR, we got an average of 109, a 1% of 81, and a 0.1% low of 72. Fortnite on performance preset averaged 168, 63.1% and 20.1% low. Once again, smooth gameplay with no perceived drops in frames. Farlight 84 and Valorant averaged 235 and 404 on very high and high settings respectively. Forza Horizon 4 on ultra settings, no FSR, averaged 139 FPS, the 1% of 107 and a 0.1% low of 86. Hogwarts Legacy is a notoriously difficult game to benchmark due to how expansive the game is. You're going to see drastically different frames depending on where you are. Over a playthrough of about 20 minutes from Hogwarts to Hogsmeade and out and about in the world, we averaged 77 FPS with a 1% low of 35 and a 0.1% low of 13. I don't put too much stock in the 1% and 0.1% lows in this game, as sometimes when traveling between places you'll encounter loading screens. That is likely where you'll see the low frames, otherwise frame times are smooth. As you can see in Hogsmeade here, we're averaging 60 plus FPS on high settings with no FSR, and depending on where you're at in Hogsmeade, it can jump up to 70 plus FPS. Moving into the castle, you're going to get 90 FPS on average just throughout the space. Hogwarts Castle is quite well optimized, and even though there's a lot of stuff going on there, the frames seem to be quite high in the castle itself. For Witcher 3 on high settings, no FSR. We got an average of 64 FPS with a 1% low of 45 and a 0.1% low of 36.
You're on everyone.
Ran into Molly. She says hello.
Molly? Which Molly?
One you promised to show your butterfly collection to.
And lastly, the coup de grace of this benchmark playthrough test, we have Starfield. We have Starfield set to a mix of medium to low settings, FSR2 enabled at 85% resolution scaling. I found that at 85% you don't lose much in terms of visual fidelity, and the game is really enjoyable to play with the frames I'm getting. On average, in space, I'm getting 60 plus FPS. Keep in mind the footage is taken with OBS set to basically lossless quality, so the frames on screens are taking a pretty big hit. On planets, I'm also getting about 60 plus FPS. In instances, the frames will vary from 50 average to 90 plus average. It really just depends on what instance you're in. More importantly, the frame times are very smooth. I've tested Starfield thoroughly on this PC. I'm talking 20 plus hours. And it's very enjoyable to play at whatever FPS I got. As we move into the space station here, you'll notice my frames drop quite a bit, but I do have OBS running. Without it, I averaged 50 FPS in this pretty hectic scene. Frame times remained stable, so I didn't perceive stuttering whatsoever, and honestly, having a blast playing Starfield on this budget build. Here we are at the New Atlantis spaceport. We're getting an average of 50 FPS here, and the game looks fantastic. Also note that we are getting a little to no CPU bottlenecks here, as the 5700 is being utilized quite well across all the games featured today, and the CPU only pulls about plus or minus 60 watts, which is super efficient and is keeping up pace with this 5700 very nicely. Here we are in the Mass District, and we still averaged 50 plus FPS. This is the most graphically intense area in New Atlantis, and to see this budget build still hit 50 plus FPS on average is absolutely insane. You might notice that as I'm kind of panning around, there's seems to be like a bit of like lag there. The lag that you're seeing isn't actually associated with the game, it's more my mouse. I'm testing an AliExpress like $2 mouse, and it isn't the smoothest experience, but I just wanted to give it a thorough playthrough, so I'm using it to play Starfield on this budget build, and it's not so bad. But yeah, it's going to be much more smooth with a better mouse.
Hey there.
So there you have it, guys. This $300-ish budget build is an absolute beast of a PC, capable of handling gaming and video editing. Little to no CPU bottlenecking. We were getting max GPU utilization in most games, minus the esports titles, which tax CPU more, and still got high refresh rate gaming on those titles. This easily beats my other $300 budget PC on my channel, which I'll link for you up here. To be fair though, I got almost all the parts during the biggest sale of the year on AliExpress. Just goes to show you, if you're looking to build the most bang for your buck budget PC, it might be worth waiting till Singles Day, Black Friday, and Cyber Monday. Though a lot of these sales start before the actual days. Just gotta keep your ear to the ground during those months. If you have any questions or comments about the build, please feel free to leave a comment below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I will link the parts from this build in the description below if you're interested in picking any of them up for yourself. They are affiliate links and will help us out. I will be selling this locally for a really competitive price. If you like the video, please like the video, as it does really help the channel out. If you want to see more videos I put out, don't forget to subscribe by clicking on my face over here, and you can always watch more of my other videos over there. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.